Hey, that worked a lot faster than usual. Sweet. I'm enjoying this immensely. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tipsy and Witchy. I mean, we have most of us here. Hopefully, Donna joins us. And I finally got myself a new computer, so hopefully everything works miraculously on my end too. So tonight we have with us our very special friend and returning guest, Ronda Hart, and we're just gonna talk about all the good stuff. So how are you doing, Rhonda?
I'm doing really well. Thank you.
Good stuff. Rhonda was at Paracon with us at the final Michigan Paracon. So before we dive in, tell us about how your weekend went. How were your adventures at Paracon?
They were honestly, it was so good. It instantly dawned on me, and I'm so grateful that we thought about it. That since Andrea couldn't be there, that Rupert was by himself, that he really didn't have what you could call his people there. Because it was supposed to be Andrea and her people. So when Andrea couldn't make it, I was like, we should check on him. So I was able to give him breaks or have him message me and bring him something that he needed. And I was just so grateful I thought about that. So it was so nice. This is my first time meeting him. So that was super nice. And just being able to see everybody again. You know how it is. It's like a huge, giant family reunion.
It is 100%. And the nice thing about it is it's like a family reunion that you meet new family members every year.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time I'd ever seen Rupert. He seemed like a super nice guy. I never really got to talk to him, but he had a good feeling about him.
Yeah, he did seem super nice. He you could tell he really cares about Andrea, and that he was still trying to show support for her and stuff like that. So I thought that about what him and Deb did about the healing sessions that we did on Friday and Saturday night was super thoughtful.
Oh, absolutely. Me and Mom and Mitchell were at the Friday night one. We didn't make it to Saturday, but we were there on Friday, and I liked how positive everybody was. I was like the bad kid in the class though, and making everybody around me laugh. But I just thought it would add more positive energy. So,
Yeah, I was able to get some phenomenal pictures of the sky. It was really weird because when we had started, it literally looked like there was one big giant eyeball.
Yeah.
And then as the night went on, it literally showed up as two.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just super cool how we got these really unusual pictures that night.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, they're beautiful. The sky was beautiful in itself, too. Yeah, I loved it. I haven't seen anything posted on Facebook. Do you know if Andrea's doing okay?
I message her, not every day because I don't want to bother her, but every so often I do message her. And but I don't technically ask because I feel like I would just sit there. To give you an example, I would sit there and just send her a text saying, thinking of you, or hope, know that you're very loved, or, it's just little stuff like that.
Sure.
Because I remember when my mom had breast cancer and how she would have some really hard days, and honestly, that's everybody's normal question. Oh, how are you doing? You don't feel like, you know what I mean? So I've learned to ask different questions or like say different things just so they know that they're there. But like if they don't automatically share information, I don't feel like I should ever ask. So I'm going to assume she's doing okay.
Yeah.
Because she does respond when I do text her and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I can imagine getting the same open-ended questions. You just kind of go on autopilot, so I think that's not a bad idea for sure.
It was brought up honestly way before Paracon. I had a friend of mine that had asked me, well, I wonder what she thinks about the drama that's going on. And I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want her name affiliated with it because she has enough going on.
Oh,
but
definitely.
I looked at my friend and I said, you know what? She literally just lost her mom. I pray to goodness that people put that first and understand that that's the hardest loss that you typically have in your entire life.
Yeah.
And that they give her time and just leave her alone.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And so I'm glad that when she did finally do that video that she just addressed it. It has nothing to do with me and I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm glad she kind of put that to rest. So people don't bombard her with it because it literally doesn't have anything to do with her. And she really does need to just focus on herself and grieve 100%. The loss of her mom.
Absolutely. She's a tough cookie, though. I believe in her. And I know everybody else does, too.
I keep telling her, expect miracles. If there's anybody ever could pull up a miracle, it's definitely her.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Oh.
But it was sad seeing her there, but at the same time, like what Chip Coffee did, like what Rupert did was super thoughtful. And then I thought what Chip Coffee did was super thoughtful as well. It's nice to see somebody that when they're in that situation, how people come together to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Mom.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing.
You're doing?
I'm doing.
Okay. Mom, do you have it up on your phone, too? Because you have an echo.
I don't think so. How's that?
I don't know. I think it's good.
It's better.
Okay. So I was just having Rhonda talk about Paracon, and we were just talking about Andrea and how she's a tough cookie.
She is. All I can do is hope for the best. Have you had any updates, Rhonda?
For me?
Have you had any updates?
I do text her. Like I was telling them, I don't text her every day because I wouldn't do that to anybody, number one. Right. But number two, I try to be super respectful, but I try to keep it short. Like I don't ask questions like, how are you doing? Because I remember when my mom had cancer and she just would get bombarded with that question from so many people. And you're not feeling well, you just want to take care of yourself. So I always just send her text like thanking you or you're very loved. I try to keep it short and sweet just so she knows that we're here for her, but at the same time not. And like I just personally don't feel like asking her personal questions like that either, because I feel like that's for her to share. It's not for me to ask.
That's right.
I've had people ask me, oh, what stage is she in? I was like, that's none of my business.
No.
Like if she's not telling people this information, it's none of our business.
That's right. There's a reason for that.
So I guess just from going through it with my mom, I just try to be very respectful to other people because I just remember what we went through with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to go through.
But I send her Reiki every time I get a chance, every time I think about it.
Good. She needs it.
So, where were you?
Where was I?
Yeah.
I was helping Dad outside.
Oh, okay.
We were chasing horse.
How's the weather where you're at?
It is beautiful up here. Just gorgeous. It's perfect. What is it, about 75?
No, it's not that warm.
70?
It's cooling off pretty good. It's supposed to be what?
It's like 72 and sunny. It's beautiful.
Cold tonight.
It's going to be cold tonight.
See, I think it's perfect sleeping weather.
Yes.
Oh, God, yes. I turned on the electric blanket last night.
Oh, and just to clarify, when Mom says they were chasing horse, she means turkeys. Turkeys, because they breed like rabbits. That's why Mom calls them that. Just a little clarification.
How many? You have a bunch?
One group, there's about 40.
Oh my goodness.
A group of 28 comes through, then a group of 17.
Wow.
That is a lot of turkeys.
And they shit all over the place. I do
Dogs love it.
Oh,
Not Higgins. All I got to do is say the W word and he is after them.
I can attest to it. I was there yesterday and she's like, Higgins, get the horse. I'm like, Jesus, mother.
He chases them away. I don't want him to eat all the food I put out for Mama.
Mama is a deer.
She's very old and she only stays here and she's a rack of bones and I know she's not going to make it through winter and they don't need to eat her food. And
we'll
that's how
put
I
a sign out. No turkeys allowed.
That depends on if they read the latest chapter of Hooked on Phonics for turkeys. I don't know. You know.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
You know, did you guys seem like you guys were super tired at Paragon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard everybody talking about that, and that's why you hardly ever saw me at night, because I was so tired I literally had to go to bed. Like, I just could not stay up and hang out with people.
It got to the point where I would drag my body back to the room. And I never felt like that there.
Yeah, me either, but it was something weird that everybody was talking about how tired they were this year.
Yeah. I
It was
pushed past
crazy.
it. I probably over pushed myself, but I was being stubborn.
Well,
It's
what
really
was it? The first or second night there, we had no choice but to stay up.
Yeah, we had a party just show up out of nowhere in our room. I'm like, who? What?
That was my fault.
It was a lot of fun though. I mean, no regrets for sure. It was our buddies, and it seemed like the wing that we were staying down was all of our friends. So it was kind of nice.
It was.
We didn't have to worry about if our room got too loud because everybody was
In
Yeah.
it.
yeah, pretty much. It was like party central.
It was a good time.
Mm-hmm. Mitchell says that's what happens when you go to the casino, Donna.
What,
Did
I
you
get
know
tired?
I had never gambled there? So I actually went and got one of the cards, you use to get points for when you did.
Yeah.
And I got $5 for being new, $8 for crossing the bridge. And they had some special where every day for 6 days, if I went up and had them, they would add $8 more. So I was having a blast.
Yep,
Nice.
that's what I was doing. And it was like, cool. Sign me up. Hook me up.
Mom kept winning, and
That's
I
good
did.
though. She needed it.
yeah.
I did. I still do, but it was great. I was really glad. Well, the first night there, I hit for $8.94. One pull.
Wow, that's good.
Awesome.
Lucky
But it
duck.
was a machine that I don't think you'd look at it and it was like, okay, half the lights are missing. It's old. You can barely read it. And I'm just sitting there hanging out, and something just hit me, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? So I pulled it, and it wouldn't quit running, and I'm like, oh, cool. I
The
enjoyed it.
drinks were good. The $5 drinks were super good.
Yeah, they were. They really were. And we lost, and she kept winning. Yep.
That's how it always goes, Mitchell.
You learn very quickly. And listen, I actually won $40. Okay, and I got back my money, so I stopped, and then I spent it at Paracon the next day. It was perfect.
Well, you know what? They'll be back within 3 years. So
I really hope so. I do. So, Mom,
what?
you had some burning questions for Miss Rhonda.
I have some burning questions.
Yes.
Rhonda, what burning question do I have for you?
I'm not sure. No, we were going to talk about Reiki this time, I think, a little more about Reiki,
Mhm.
but that's all I remember.
Okay, well, let's talk about Reiki.
It's a little different because my whole purpose of getting into Reiki was to use it for paranormal purposes,
Uh-huh.
which is really different why than most people get into it. But Amy Allen, every time I would watch the Dead Files, would talk about, oh, you need a Reiki master. And I was just like, I want to be one of those.
Well, yeah.
And so I literally did exactly what I wanted to do, and I love doing it.
So tell us what you do.
Well, to give you an example, I do a combination of things. So one thing is that's super cool is that you know how like you're doing an investigation and the spirit kind of runs out of steam and you can't keep the connection going. Well, with Reiki, you can send that spirit Reiki to help keep their energy going and help keep the connection going. So I think that's super cool. And then I also do what I call home blessings because sometimes when you do a cleanse, it doesn't necessarily do all that's supposed to do. So I use my skills as a Reiki master. If the paranormal cleanse doesn't, then I do my Reiki stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I can help. Yeah, Candy and I are on the same team. But when I do home blessings, I cleanse the house like you would like a paranormal cleanse, and then I use Reiki. I'm helping spirits cross over, severing attachments, whether it be from a person or a building, helping rid of residual energy, like make it a nice, fresh, new palette for people. It's actually one of my favorite things in the world to do with Reiki is to make somebody feel safe in their home or their business.
Excellent. Excellent. And you're probably one of very few people that do that.
Yep. I've trained a few other people to do it. Actually, another girl that's on our paranormal team with us. I've helped her with a couple of cases to show her exactly how, because she's a Reiki master and paranormal investigator as well, but she just didn't know how to combine it. And so I showed her how to do it. I taught her how to debunk stuff because I think that's super important that you just don't assume everything's paranormal.
Yes.
And so I taught her how to do a scientific investigation first, then do the like the paranormal investigation and then do the cleanse and then do the Reiki stuff.
Excellent. Excellent. So can you tell us about one of the investigations you used it on?
I'm trying to think. I'll give you a nice easy one. My daughter had somebody she was dating because they weren't engaged yet. And he was moving out of a house and they had bought a house together. But he wanted me, which I thought was super sweet. He wanted me to cleanse the house that he was moving out of. So when the people moved in, it would be nice and fresh energy. Because the person he lived there with, they fought constantly. And when you would go in there, you could literally feel that energy.
Mm.
And anytime you have an old home, it's just imprinted with like years and years of all kinds of energy. So I did that where, like I cleanse it. And then when I sit and do Reiki, the coolest thing about it is, and the only way I can think to describe it is that you're sitting there doing Reiki, trying to lift this heavy energy. And it's almost like a pin pops a bubble and it just like the energy lifts. It's the most amazing, coolest feeling because it completely shifts the energy in the entire home. And then just trying to get rid of that residual energy so that way the new people don't have to worry about, lingering energy hanging out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, even though it's a really old house, it's like the energy in it's brand new.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And then I can tell you about another case I did. And actually, this is one. So now where I work at, because it's a metaphysical shop, they actually, people come to us, and we charge because it's a business.
Yes.
And so we had a client, and won't divulge where or names, just out of protecting clients, but I don't like to know anything because, like it being psychic medium, you kind of don't want to know because you kind of want to pick it up authentically and it'll be raw and organic.
Mhm.
And literally, as soon as I walked in her house, I looked at her. I couldn't hardly breathe. I mean, I have asthma, but it's completely under control. But like, I literally felt like I couldn't breathe. And I looked right at her and I said, does this house have a basement? And she said, yes. I instantly opened up my, I call it a blessing kit. I opened it up, pulled out some stuff, took it right to the basement, literally went to this spot, held up, because I was sensing a portal. That's what the energy was, why I couldn't breathe. It was super strong. Held out. So I always use one dowsing rod to validate it, because if you hold it in the spot where you think it is, it's just going to spin super fast because it's a portal, the energy moving around. So, and she looked at me and she goes, oh my gosh, that's where I used a Ouija board. How did you even know that? I said, because I could feel it. And I said, I can't do anything into this house until I get this door closed.
Yes.
Because otherwise, and I couldn't breathe anyway. So it's like I had to, and literally as soon as I closed it, it's like energy lifted. And then as I'm cleaning her, so then I go through the thing and because normally what I do is I'll ask you to walk me through your entire house everywhere. And I'm not there to judge it or like judging you on how clean it is or anything like that. They don't understand it. I literally am sensing, feeling energy, connecting with spirit, stuff like that, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And at the same time in my head, putting together a game plan, how I'm going to handle what's going on. So that was one of the first cases I've ever done where like I had to kind of like jump ahead and do that just because the energy was so overwhelming. I had to close that before I could even do that. So after I get done, I'm walking through. So I have her do that, walk me through the whole house. And I open a closet and there's this lady standing there. And I was like, oh, there's a lady standing here. I don't know, why is she in the closet? And it was so weird because somebody living at the house goes, I constantly hear voices in the closet. And everybody told me I was crazy. And so I just start laughing because it was like, it was just unusual. You don't expect to open a closet and a spirit standing there.
Yeah, right. Staring right back at you.
Yeah. So anyway, I was able to figure out that there was two men there as well, but they were trying to hide. But ultimately, they all needed help crossing over. And then I did my cleanse and then did reiki, and like the house has been amazing ever since.
Good stuff.
Now, was that at the Willis house or was it somewhere else?
No, this was a case that I did at my job.
Okay. Well, how'd you feel about the Willis house?
It's one of my absolute favorite places.
I love it.
I had investigated it 3 times before I joined the team. So when we did our very first event, Terry, we were trying to break up into, you know how it is, like you do an event, there's separate locations. So you kind of send like different people to different locations, and then you have the guests rotate and you kind of stay in the same location. Or if you rotate, like your guests go with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we went into the one big bedroom that's downstairs. And I've always been, the children have always been super interactive with me. And honestly, those children typically are, I guess, because I'm a mom and they just know I'm a safe space. So I'm just typically normally attracted to kids. Always are very drawn to me. So
same.
Yeah. So Terry I had never thought about this, and I'm telling you, it's still one of the coolest things I've ever done. Not that I haven't done a lot of other cool things, but recently it was the coolest thing I've ever done. It was holding a REM pod. So, like, if you're holding it and you don't let go, it does the same thing if it's sitting still. Like, it's only going to go off if something interferes in its field because you're holding it consistently. So she was like, we're going to play hide and go seek with the kids. Well, I could sense where the kids were, like every time they would move from the room. So I would tell her, like, hey, they're over there in the back corner behind the bed. And she would go and I'd say, oh, no, you got to put it lower. And she would put it lower and it would go off. And then I'd see the kids run and giggle and then go someplace else. So I tell her, oh, yeah, now they're over here behind this. And she would go. And this was in front of guests. And what the coolest thing, too, was a lot of the guests had never even been to an investigation. So we're playing hide and go seek with these ghost children in front of them. So literally every single time I told her where to go, the REM pod would go off.
Oh my God, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. Oh yeah, in the Willis house, you literally get VIP treatment. And she makes the best snacks in the world.
She really does.
That I can agree
they're
with.
full.
So good.
That in itself is worth going for.
Oh my gosh, yes. You know, they have some events coming up, you guys. We should go.
I'm always
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
This house. Larry in the Orchard is becoming more prevalent. Who is Larry in the Orchard?
He's the little boy that Mark Briones accidentally got on his SOS. The second that he figured out that that Mark caught him, he hurried up and disappeared. But it was too late. Mark had already recorded it. But he got him climbing the tree.
No kidding. Oh, I love that. No, when we were at the Willis house, they did the hide and seek, and I thought that was really cool because, the REM pods and everything did go off intelligently. So I thought that was really neat. And there was a lot of first timers when we went in our group. So Exie was just like, Chelsea, why did you help these people? I'm like, all right. So I kind of volunteered and helped people with their ghost hunting while we were there. But it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, there was an older lady in the basement that wouldn't leave the basement. She had like one of those thin little silky caps over her head.
Yeah, she was kind of grumpy.
Yeah.
The nun, Candy was talking about they know Sesame Street, but not Barney, so it kind of told us the timeline.
Yeah.
But what's annoying is when the investigation's going super good, and then the nun comes in and she just like kills the activity. And she won't communicate with anybody. She won't interact with anybody. She just walks around like very stern. And
I have to wonder if that was her.
Do you think maybe she's more of a residual energy then? Because it sounds like she's almost just doing what she would have done while she was alive.
Oh, she very much thinks that she's still working.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Poor Larry.
To nail down his...
Well, how old do you guys think he is?
The nun? I would say she's older, but not super old. I'm 57, and I don't think she was too much older than me or about my age.
Okay, that's not who we were seeing then in the basement there.
Oh, in the basement? No, she's old. I've never saw her in the basement.
No, this wasn't a nun that we saw in the basement. She's just a cranky old woman.
Oh, the Terry's husband has a woman, so it might be her.
It could be. Oh, Sister Mary Catherine hates Candace, huh?
Oh yeah, she's not a very nice nun.
Does she go after her?
I don't know. I'm not sure what this. All I know is just she. I don't honestly think she likes anybody. To be honest, like she just not. But like you know how it is, people in real life. Like you just have some people that will just like not like you more than other people, and there's just like no reason for it.
I'm guessing it's because she's a nun and perhaps she doesn't agree with the abilities that we tend to showcase during investigations.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think because Candy and I have different belief systems, then yeah. Yeah, the history is amazing. Like, Ed in the basement's a little touchy feely. He grabbed my boob one time and I had to tell him like he does not have permission to ever do that again.
Yeah, just because you're dead doesn't give you a good reason there, bud. No is still no.
He worked for the Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
And he protected the illegal hooch during Prohibition.
Oh yeah, yeah. The history alone in that house is phenomenal, let alone the paranormal activity.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, it's an amazing place.
It really is. And how they're restoring it. And oh my God, I just love it.
I know every time you go, you're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful.
What did you do now?
Yeah, Ed definitely loves the ladies. There's no question about that. He was definitely a ladies' man. I was there with Michelle when I did my investigation, and I don't know why I'd asked this, but you know, because it's connected to Prohibition and stuff like that, I just asked, hey, were you friends with Al Capone? And I guess Ed responded with, nobody was friends with Al Capone. And I said, touche.
Sounds like a smart man.
Yeah.
And then I asked him about a couple other people, and he said, I'm not incriminating myself. So I thought that was funny.
Well,
oh, that is funny. Candace wants to live in the master bathroom. I do too.
Oh my God, it's awesome. I
really
forgot about that.
Hey, how many places can you go investigate that Nick Groff was naked in the bathtub?
Not many.
That's what I love about it. Not the only thing, but it's definitely one of them.
It's right at the top of the list, right?
You ladies. Good Lord.
Now I'll have to touch the bathtub when I go back in.
No. That's weird.
Mom in the bathroom molesting the bathtub.
I feel you.
Cheese and rice. We're gonna get a restraining order from Nick Groff, and he's never even met us.
But
we'll blame it on the house.
Like I was talking about the trick about doing Reiki to sending the spirit Reiki so you can keep we've done that in the basement before, a couple of times, to keep Ed communicating with us and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. Now what's this? I know because of the railroad, we have passing through guests.
Oh, because, well, seriously, the railroad is literally, it's right there. And they used to ship families in and out. What they would do is they would have whole families come there, and the wife and kids had to stay up on the main floor or outside while the men were in the basement having a blast with the illegal alcohol.
I got you.
So, yeah, you did. The history of it, it was I think it was almost like an unwed mother's. Yeah, the railroad's an energy highway. That's true too. But then you got all that history to it. It was like so many different things. It was like a mini hospital one time. It was like a unwed mother thing one time. All kinds of things have happened there, obviously, because it's super old. So obviously it has lots of history. Yeah, I've never done that. I have to honestly say I've never went to the railroad track and investigated and see what the connection is to the house, but that would be a really good idea.
Think there was any Underground Railroad by the house for the slaves and all that?
Michigan is rooted. I have I've done Fort Gratiot in Port Huron, and I connected with slaves there. I've connected with slaves at the Octagon House in Washington Township. I mean, so Michigan's definitely rooted because I think they were bringing them here and trying to get them to Canada or even just to Michigan for them to be safe.
We've done places where the slaves were hid and then brought out to the railroads, and some of them were in Holly and some of them were as far as Bay City.
Yeah, I've done I connected with one in Howell too. I honestly can say it was the most polite spirit I've ever connected with in my life.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
Polite is good.
What I wanted to see, since our dear friend Lisa is also a Reiki master. Lisa, have you ever done anything like that? When you're doing readings, do you kind of mix your Reiki in to talk to spirit or anything like that?
I don't, well, not with spirit usually. But I have worked with people. I work with people a lot of times long distance, because I find that they're much more receptive to the energy when they're sleeping. They keep their brain out of it, and I can get a lot more done when they're sleeping. I have gone to people, just friends that have passed away, and checked on them, and a lot or people. I had one person that she was ill and she was in a coma, and so I went to her to give her energy, hoping that I could get her back or help her come back. And it was kind of scary, I've done a lot of. It's not really astral projection, but it's mind projection. And to reach her, I had to go a lot farther than I had ever gone before. She was really on her way out. But I got to her and I just said, come on, your husband's worried about you. He wants you to come back. And she said, no, I'm waiting here for him. I'm waiting here for him. And I said, no, he wants you to come back. You need to come back for your family and stuff like that. And then I gave her a lot of, I worked with her over there on healing her and sending her energy and stuff like that. And it was like, I think I did it 2 nights in a row. And on the third day, she woke out of her coma. And she, I think she's passed away since then, but this was 3 or 4 years ago. But it's funny, her husband passed away about a year after this incident. And I think, she knew he was over there. She knew he was dying, and she was waiting, she wasn't going to come back. She's just waiting for him. And so it was kind of, I talked to her one time. We had to get together, and I kind of worried about sticking my nose into her karma type stuff, And so I asked her one time, when she came back out of the coma, she was telling people that she could remember somebody yelling at her sternly, no, you have to go back. You have to go back. And they hadn't told her about me working on her. And so, but I did, I kind of worried about me messing with her. And so one day we had a get together, and I asked her, I pulled her aside, and I said, "Are you ever sorry you came back?" And she said, "No, no, no, it wasn't." And I said, "Even though that your husband passed," and she said, "No." She said, "I was here for him. I was, I'm so glad, that I was here for him when he passed." So, but yeah, that was so that I do a lot of that kind of stuff, that kind of work. Um, and it's usually, like I said, at nighttime before I go to bed. But or when I can relax and get in bed and I'm not interrupted and the dogs are out of my bedroom and all that stuff. But that's my usual kind of work, unless like if you need Reiki or whatever, and you're around, work on you, in person. But that's usually how I spend my Reiki time, is working on people like that.
Excellent. Excellent. As long as it helps them.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
What is
do it?
what is this comment from Candace? Rhonda and I investigated at location for Underground Railroad, the most disturbing Estes session ever. What happened? I'm nosy.
We so you guys know about that, how like you have the earmuffs on and
Yes.
and other people are asking questions, and we literally got people's names and stuff, but then we had other people coming through saying stuff that really upset all of us. And then when we got done, we literally found the names on a wall at the museum that we were at. It was in Adrian, Michigan, at a museum.
Really?
Yeah.
But he kept screaming stuff that it was just really upsetting, no matter what. Like all of us, every time we tried to do it, we all had to stop because of what he was saying was so upsetting. And it had to do with the Underground Railroad and things that obviously are not appropriate.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it was super upsetting. Every single one of us had to stop and let somebody else try and see. And like this person, he just kept screaming horrific things. And then occasionally we would be able to get other people to talk to us. And like, we've never had such precise information from a session like that. And then literally find it all after the fact.
Right.
Wow.
It was super cool.
It's good that you were able to validate it, but that doesn't sound like a very fun time.
No, that doesn't.
It wasn't, but at least some of the people, the one woman that we found actually helped. And I think that's why the man was trying to scream over her, because number one, she was a woman, number two, she helped, and he didn't like that.
No.
Insane. So, Rhonda, where's the next event we're going to see you at?
Probably. I always sponsor and go to the old mill. So I definitely do that. My work schedule has changed. I now work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so it's made it a little harder of events not on a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
It was creepy, Sandy. It was super creepy. I'm gonna try to go to the UFO contact.
Oh,
I really want to go to that, but I would actually have to take off day work.
Oh.
And I'm trying not to be too pushy, because I literally just took that whole week off of work to go to Paracon.
No, you don't want to do that. No.
But she might let me. I mean, she might, but it just we do our own events and stuff like that, and sometimes we can get pretty busy at my work, and that's why I always feel bad, because I love to help her and I love to help the shop and I love helping other people, so I enjoy working there.
That's the perfect job.
It really is. She's it's super interesting. She's a bruja, and I really didn't know a whole lot about it or anything like that. So working with her, and we're both learning from each other, it's been phenomenal.
How long you been there?
A year.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's fantastic.
You're already? That doesn't seem possible.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was a guest reader there on and off for a year, and then she hired me full time. So technically, I've been there for 2 years, but full time for what you could call full time for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, we're looking forward to UFO Con.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And anybody that doesn't know about it, it's in Houghton Lake at the Lakeside Resort on, is it September 20th and 21st?
Yep.
Yep. So come on out. We'll be there.
And then after the old mill, it will probably be tall grass.
Yes. We will be there too.
Which is also at Lakeside.
You know, I feel bad because this is going to be the first year that I miss going to the old mill.
Aww.
But because of having the fire and all that, I'm obligated for Lyndon's Ladies Night. And because of some other scheduling, they had to have it the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we can do some inspiring things at the old mill, like we did for Andrea, for Tim Rehan.
Yeah,
I hope so.
And that's the one thing.
So
one thing I love about Reiki, and it has a lot to do with what Candy just said, is that the main reason why the second I took a class, the first thing out of my teacher's mouth is that this has nothing to do with your ego.
That's right.
So everything I'm going to teach you has to do with how you're a vessel, and it's not about you. And I knew I was instantly going to love it.
Perfect.
And I've implemented that into my paranormal stuff too. It's not about me. So even though I love helping people, it's not like, oh, I closed the portal. No, I had the ability to be able to do that. And I had the ability to make somebody feel safe in their home. I don't sit there. I always try to be mindful of my verbiage where it doesn't come out where it's like ego, because it's not like I'm like that. Like, I just love the fact that I'm helping people, but I'm just a vessel for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. True story. Absolutely. And it's good that you know that and recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not running around screaming demons.
Yeah. It drives me crazy.
It drives me insane.
I had somebody I was on an old team, and I literally, every case they did, they literally said that word. It used to drive me crazy. So I hadn't been on that team in a while, and somebody needed me to assist them with the house that's over 200 years old right here in Monroe, Michigan. And that was one of the things she said as soon as we pulled up in the driveway is, don't be telling them that if you connect or you find any demons. And I looked at her and said, well, I haven't found any yet, so I highly doubt I'm going to find one here. And it was just like, it's so annoying because I get so frustrated with it. Everybody thinks that everything's bad. Yeah. And when a lot of times it's not. There's a huge difference between malevolent and something that's actually demonic.
Right.
That's right. It's like, people, stop listening to these
stupid paranormal shows. They're entertainment.
There, you said it.
They're just entertainment.
That's all they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
I've actually had a case. It was kind of funny. Not even gonna lie. They called, and because that's always what you get. I've got this in my house. You got to come help me. Yep. And you get there. It was a grandfather. Like, they had a piano, and I guess he was a huge prankster in real life. So of course, he's going to be like that in the afterlife. So like, they would walk by the piano and he'd make it go off, and they would like freak out, and he was moving stuff, and Grandpa's laughing. Grandpa thought, but they seriously thought it was something else. And here it was just him trying to get their attention, and they misinterpreted what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah, I've come across that a few times with people asking questions. They find out that, you know, we have our own team, so they're curious, and I love it when people ask me questions, but a lot of the times I'm finding people are like, "Oh, have you ever done anything demonic?" And I'm like,
No, they're not hanging out on every street corner.
"Oh."
They don't just pop up in your house for no reason. And that's another thing. I can't speak for anybody else ever, and nor would I try to. All I can talk about is my personal experience, but anytime I've never dealt with that, but anytime it's even been something malevolent, it was something that was invited in.
Right.
It didn't just show up one day and try to have a party.
Yes, you got that right. We've only had a couple circumstances where it was out of our league and we referred it out to people that knew how to handle it.
Mm.
And that's what I would do if it was ever something. I always tell people, like, if I the way I put it, I said, this is above my pay grade. Obviously they're not paying me, but it was just like, it's just a joke. But yeah, I don't hesitate. There's no reason why you should get something over your head. As much as I love people, I also want everybody to be safe.
That's right.
So I want things done properly.
Well, and that's the biggest thing too, is you do get people that think, oh, I can handle absolutely anything, and that's not necessarily the case, and that's when you just open up a bigger can of worms. So I'm not afraid to say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable handling this for you, however, I know somebody who can. So as long as you're not telling them blatantly no, and you're still getting them the help they need, that's what matters most, because it's not about who can do what. It's just about getting them what they need. And I think there are new teams that tend to forget that aspect. They're just in it for the wrong reasons. And
Right. Yeah. No. You know, another thing too, to give an example, and not to get into religion, but if there was a situation where, let's say it has to do with a negative elemental, a priest or somebody else is not going to help that situation.
No.
So certain situations you have to try to figure out what's going on and then find somebody in that line that can alleviate the situation.
Right.
You don't have a one fixes all type of situation. And I think people are really misinformed about that as well.
They're misinformed on many, many things, and it's sad. Because, you know, if they would just use their own mind and do their own research, they would know better.
Yeah, but you have to believe everything you see on TV.
Yeah, I know.
It's so sad.
Use discernment, people. Use discernment.
Just so sad. Yeah, Conrad loves Zach.
Oh, but Mom, you love him the most.
I hate his guts. And
I smiled because I got shredded in my hand, and I was going to post a picture on my Facebook page, and I was going to zack it up and be like, oh, I got attacked by a demon. But the demon has fur and 4 legs.
Oh, Lord.
That must be
You should still do
they're
it.
definitely possessed.
Yep, it's a possessed rabbit.
Oh, and they're worse than a cat.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
Rabbits
Especially
are
when you're in
pretty
heat.
That's funny.
Well, children of the corn, I think we've covered it, don't you? Yes,
I
Candy.
think
Chelsea
so.
knocked everybody's socks off, and she's singing what this Saturday in Grayling again, aren't you?
Yep, I'm back at the Legion.
I have a question for you guys, just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
This has been brought up to me lately. So with Reiki, it's a class that you're taught, and obviously, if you have abilities that can enhance like your gifts and stuff like that, and make things easier for you, but you literally do not have to be gifted to take Reiki. But I do think it helps. Honestly, I personally think everybody's gifted. Everybody has their own gifts, but I think Reiki can enhance everything for you if you are gifted. And if you're aware of your gifts, I guess that's a better way to put it. But do you think people should pay for people's services as far as Reiki? Because I've heard conflicting stories, and I'll give my opinion when you guys get done.
personally, I actually feel each person out. And if I feel they can't afford it, I don't charge them.
Yeah.
But do you feel like people should charge? That's my question. That not that you receive money, but do you think we should charge it all ever?
I have a
I-
hard time charging for Reiki. You know, I
I
don't mind charging
terrible,
people for
terrible time
readings,
charging for it.
but I rarely charge for a Reiki session.
So I was certified in Reiki quite a few years back, and I don't advertise that I do Reiki or anything like that because it's more of something that I just give naturally. And the best way that I like to spread that kind of good healing energy is when I hug people. So that's pretty much the best way that I do it. And I mean, everybody would love to be a millionaire giving hugs, but that would defeat the
People
purpose.
are
So.
about things, you know what I say to them? Leave a donation.
Yeah.
So
That way I'm not insulting them.
right. When I'm at work, obviously you have to pay because I'm at a business. It's a business.
Right, right.
But I have done tons and tons of Reiki for absolutely free. I've never charged a penny, nor would I for the people I've helped. And there's other times I do charge, but ultimately the way I look at it is, I had to take classes and I'm certified in it. And to me, it's no different than anything. If you go to college and you get a certificate or you get a degree for something, are you going to do everything for free? And I'm not saying that you should do some things for free, but I just feel like there's like, it's a give and take thing. I think that charity is a phenomenal thing. I can't imagine ever not doing a lot of charity that I do, but at the same time, I need to eat.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
pay your bills.
I have, you know, I have charged for Reiki when they've, you know, I don't know somebody, they've called because, you know,
Right. If
it's
they
more of a
call
business thing,
appointment for it,
you know,
you're going to pay
you
for
know,
it.
you're using your time, you're using, you know, Reiki that you paid lots of money to, you know, to get certified and tuned and stuff like that. But I guess I play, you know, so if it's a stranger that finds me because of a business card or whatever, you know, but it rarely happens. It's usually just somebody that either a friend, you know, has referred them, or it is a friend, you know, that sort of thing. Then I don't charge, but and I always have a hard time. I give more readings away than I probably, you know, so it's that's my own thing. But I think a lot of it depends on how the feeling I get. If it's a business thing, in their brain it's a business thing, or is it a healing because they're asking for help?
Exactly.
That I think for me is what the main
Go with your gut.
Yeah, and I don't see anything wrong with it because, like Candace said, it's a service. If they seek you out at a show, you know, that's totally fine. I think both ways are totally fine. I've seen a lot of people who give a lot of guff to those who charge for readings, and it's like, well, if you're not in the circumstance where, you know, you do something else and make a living, then you don't necessarily understand that person's point of view. So I mean, just depends on the person, depends on who you are and, you know, how you do everything. And I really don't see a wrong to either side unless somebody's abusing something.
Right.
But that's different.
I've like I said, I've done tons of charity. I'm going to continue to tons of charity, and there's times I get paid. But one thing is, I think one of the reasons, and this, a lot of people don't think about it like this, but one of the reasons why I think it's important to charge, even if it's just something little, for like she was talking about a stranger, obviously not friends. I'm not talking about friends or family when I say this, but like people that you don't like technically really know, is because if you do it for free, they literally think that we're available 24 hours and we're just waiting for them to get a hold of us. And they don't respect your time. The second you put a price to that, boy, do they respect your time. So I think that in itself can be important because I finally, thank God, I finally figured out how to do my phone where I have it do not disturb. So from 11 p.m. at night to 7 a.m. And like if you have your favorites, like it will let like certain people get a hold of you.
Yeah.
But like everybody else, like they're muted for the night. And it's made a huge difference in my life. And it's sad that you have to do stuff like that. But like respect is a huge thing.
Yes,
Like if you want our services, I think we deserve at least a little, like we deserve some respect. We're still human.
Yes, exactly.
And even if we do it for charity, we're still human.
Correct.
When I got attuned for being a Reiki master, the guy who had attuned me said, you know what, you should charge, even if you give it away to charity or you give it back. But people value what they pay for.
That's right.
And so that always kind of stuck with me, but I still have a hard time. But it just kind of depends, you know. I'm with you.
I don't think Candy would mind me sharing that there's been times we know that she had a medical issue. If you guys remember, she had a medical issue not too long ago. And anytime that like she's reached out to me and says, hey, can you send me Reiki? It's with zero hesitation. And it's never with, well, how much are you going to pay me? You know what I mean? So that's why I made a point to say, I'm not talking about friends and family when I say this. This is complete strangers. Because obviously if I care about you and you need it, there's no hesitation in that.
That's right. Absolutely. Lisa's helped me through a lot between the dogs and myself. She sends it to me and I feel every bit of it.
Do you? You know, thanks for the validation. You know, sometimes I think, you know, I might be crazy. Well, we all know I'm crazy. But you know,
that's why you fit in with us. So that's a good thing.
I love you all. You know,
I love you all. And on that note, it is time to get off of here.
I think Mama's tired.
Mom is tired.
Well, thank you as always, Rhonda, for joining us. We will probably have you back if you would like to come back on and chat with us.
Absolutely, always.
Fantastic. And Candace, thank you for all of your participation. We'll get you back on the show soon, I'm sure, as well. Do we remember what we're doing next week?
Conrad, did you look it up?
Have you guys had Tim Shaw on?
I don't think we've had him on yet, but I definitely think we need to.
He's a phenomenal conversationalist.
Yeah, he is. Oh my God, I love him.
We'll have to reach out to him.
Absolutely.
That would be fun.
He's a hoot. I was so excited to see him at Paracon. I was like, damn!
He is funny.
He was a good time.
Jamalia Simons McKenzie next week.
Jamila!
Next week.
Hey,
I can't wait to have her on the show. It's going to be
yes. Oh my gosh. Let me know. I'll definitely watch. I love her to death.
Right? Yay.
And I apologize to her for slaughtering her name.
Don't worry, she'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you are watching this after the live, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please feel free to check out Tipsy and Witchy on YouTube, subscribe, and then hit the notification bell. You won't miss our shows. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So enjoy the rest of your night. Stay warm and stay spooky.
We love you all.
Bye.
stay cool.
Stay cool.